Hello, everyone, and a very good afternoon to one and all. Sorry for starting late. We had some technical difficulties, and today we will be having a workshop on Apache Cordova, which will help you convert your web applications into mobile applications and mobile applications of every platform. Like you can create the same application into iOS as well as Android using Cordova. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Faizali Mulla, our speaker for today, and he will be talking to us about Apache Cordova.
Hi everyone. First of all, sorry we have started a little late. Okay, so uh, why am I related to Cordova? Because I am an indie app developer. So I develop apps and then I release them over the Play Store. We have future plans for Apple, but as of now, we are only releasing it over the Android App Store. I mean Google Play Store. So today we'll be talking about Cordova, and then we'll be doing two demo projects, or you can say an hands-on projects. Whereas I'll be coding those apps live, and then you all will also be following them, and then you all will also be coding them. And at the same time, then after that, we'll compile those apps. So what I'm going to do is nowadays, instead of making any PPT, nowadays we have the software documentation very strong. Like not just nowadays, from before, but especially nowadays, they're really self-explanatory and they're really good. So let's just start the Apache Cordova website. So I'll just share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope everyone can see the screen.
Okay, so the screen is visible, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it is.
So okay. So when you land on the homepage of the official Cordova site, the first thing you see is mobile apps with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what this does is, using this, you can write apps. You can create mobile apps using web technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And you can see it's free and open source, so there are no charges for this. Now let's just go a little further into this. So let's just read the documents a little more. So see, here we have the basic architecture. Now, here you have your web app. So this is basically your website, like these HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can say these are your websites. Here are your resources, and in this you can have your images or anything. And this is the config.xml. Now this config.xml file, using this file, you can, while compiling the Cordova app, you can set specific instructions and your specific preferences, how you will be compiling your app. Now, this is a basic Cordova application. You have the HTML rendering web view and you have the Cordova plugins. So what this basically does is, see, to run your web code, by web code I mean your HTML, JavaScript and CSS, you need a web browser to run those things. Now what this does is, it along in basically your APK contains a small web view, and this web view may not necessarily have all the features of the browsers like search URL and address bars, but it has only those URLs, I mean those features which you specify you need. So your you can see your APK or your final app, or it depends on which language which platform you wish to create your app, may not be like of 50 MBs or 100 MBs as much as the modern day browser sizes you have. No, but it only ships with those components which are actually needed by you. So it ships that web view with your app, and it is the web view which runs your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. But it's not something in between an APK or a web app. No, it's a proper, you can say a proper mobile application. It's a proper, the end product is the APK file you get. So it's a proper mobile application you can use. Now, this is extremely useful for people who are, who are web developers, who are more into web, but and they have never done any, any mobile app coding or something. They can easily switch over and learn this, and using this they can make your mobile apps. They're extremely useful in situation whereas you have now I would recommend, like, in most cases, if you're using Cordova and you wish to compile your website into a mobile app, then it is better if your backend, the server side and the front end is decoupled and is separated, and you can do this by things like REST APIs on your server side. So this is useful when you have, suppose, a website, already an existing website, and you wish to compile it into an app as well, but you don't want to write any more code, or you don't want to put any more resources, more developers, more money, more time into it. So you can easily do that using Cordova. I think so. Before any further, we just start coding it right away. Okay. So let me go back to the home page. Okay. So okay. So we have this option, get started fast. So I think everybody has installed Cordova already. Now there is this command. So to create a Cordova app, you need to write this command, Cordova create my app, or any, here you specify the name. I'll just explain this. Now, first of all, I'll create a directory. I'll create a folder on my desktop. I'll say workshop demo. Here we'll create another folder. So today we'll be doing two apps. So first one is a Hello World app. It's a basic Hello World app. So, just to get you started and the basics, there won't be much coding into it. It's just an app, but it's a compiled, it's an APK that displays Hello World. And the second will be a little more advanced app. It'll be a calculator app. So first let's start with the Hello World app. I've created this directory. So everybody just create a direct folder wherever you wish to start coding the app. Like I've named it Hello World app, and just go into this directory. Just go to this location. I hope everybody is following. I'll just check if there are any important from the people viewing this. Okay. As soon as you all have any questions, you all can just comment it, or I think there are people assigned to take your questions. Just a second. Okay, apparently my screen share is not quite clear. So I'll just stop screening for a second and I'll just join back in again. I'll just share my screen again, and we'll see if it's clear now. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's clearer. Cool. Okay, so yes, I was here. So just go into this folder, the folder you have created, and if you have any questions, I think there are people assigned to take in your questions, and then we'll answer them like live while we are coding, so that everybody is on the same page. So after you're here, now, and by the way, I hope everybody has opened this Cordova Apache.org website. If you haven't, please do it. Just type in Cordova in your search engine and then just go to this website. Okay, I hope. Yes. So I hope everybody will have done that. So after you land, you just scroll down a bit. Now we have this command over here, Cordova create my app. Now Cordova create is the command using which you create your app. So that's the first command you're going to execute while actually creating the app. Now my app is basically the name of the app, and basically what will happen is there will be a folder created with this my app name, and within the my app folder you will have all the components and all the files about your application and all the code. So they have given this option. We'll just copy it like this, and first of all we have to go to this location. So open the terminal and go to this location, folder you have created. Okay, once you are in this location, then just copy this command, or you can write it on your own, it's your choice. Okay, now see, this command is Cordova create and my app. Now instead of this my app, you can specify anything else of your choice, but anyway, this is the first app, so we are not doing it much, but you can change this name, it's up to you. I'll just press enter. Okay, creating a new Cordova project. So basically, a new Cordova project has been created, and now I can see there's this folder, my app. When I go into this, we have www. This is Git ignore. Those who know Git will understand this. We have the config.xml file. This is a really important file, and we have the package.json file. Now, especially people who know Node.js and in general who have worked with JSON files will get this. It's basically the package.json file, and we have in this folder, this www folder, you have basically your website. Like, it's a mobile app, but you basically will be coding it using web technologies. So you can consider this like your website. Here we have the index.js file, you have the CSS folder, the image folder, the JavaScript folder. Now, so what we'll do is we'll just go into my app. Okay, so just use from the terminal, just go into this folder, go into my app, and okay. Now let's see the next command. So the next command we have to use is Cordova Platform Ad. Now, using this command, you basically add a browser. I mean, not a browser, a platform. The platform can be browser, iOS or Android. So using this command, you add a platform, and then you tell Cordova that, okay, I'll be making apps for these platforms. So the rest is done by Cordova. So when I just copy this, and we can, and when I just okay, by the way, those who are copying this directly, I would suggest just do one thing, just type it out. Maybe there's some, the CD command comes along with it before the main command. So okay, so it's Cordova Platform Ad browser. Okay, Cordova Platform Ad browser, and just enter this command. You can see using Cordova fetch for Cordova browser. So this command basically adds the platforms, and then these are the platforms for which you will be building your apps for. And I hope everybody is following this correctly. I hope I'm not too fast, I'm not too slow. So I just hope that. And if anybody is not following this, so just please let us know immediately. So we change. Okay, you can see adding browser project. Now this plugin comes by default with this. This is the whitelist plugin, which whitelist the links which your app is allowed to access or not. So okay. So you have installing Cordova plugin. Okay, this is the plugin. Okay, that's the plugin. But basically, this is important for us. Creating Cordova project for Cordova browser. Okay. Now let's see what's next. Now let's go back to this website. Okay, this is Cordova Run browser. Basically, using the Cordova Run command, you can run your projects. Now, the brow this parameter, this argument which you specify after the run word is basically the platform which you want to run it for. So if I wish to run it for run it on an Android app, I'll be specifying Cordova Run Android. Similarly for iOS, I'll be specifying Cordova Run iOS. Similarly for Windows, I'll be specifying Cordova Run Windows. So I'll just copy this command and I'll just run this command. Now you start immediately. I'll just change my browser. So we'll use Chrome itself. Any browser is okay, no problem. Okay. Basically, using Cordova, you can compile your apps for the web as well. Now, I'm personally more interested to compile it for the mobile phones or for other platforms, but you can compile for web. So here you can see the app is running in the browser, and this code is by default. It's given, the people who have made Cordova, they have already given this code, so we don't have to do this. So in the index.html5, they have given this code and they have accordingly given the stylings and all. So this is and device ready. This is basically, we'll come to this later, but this is basically the event which is fired after all the device APIs are ready. Okay. So our main app runs. Now what we'll do, we'll just open this app using a text editor. So I'm using Visual Studio Code. You can use the text editor of your choice. So yeah, it's here. Okay. So any changes which we need to make will be in this www folder. It is the folder where obviously we'll be coding the other stuff as well, but this is the folder where you'll be putting in your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. So let's go to the index.html file. Okay, for those who are using it, I'll just simplify. Basically, this is your main project folder, the my app folder. Here you have all the files. In this, you have this www folder. When you go inside, then you have index.html. So this is the file we have opened now in the text editor. Okay. So now this title is already given. So what we were seeing over there was basically all this code. So connecting to device is ready. Now let's check what's there in index.js. Okay. So the code what we were seeing is here. Now let's do one thing. Let's change this code to hello world. Okay. So we'll just make a simple app, we'll delete everything from this which we don't need. So we'll just delete all this. We're just making a simple app, Okay. Now we just keep this script and index.js as it is and just delete this. Even though we're not using much of this index.js, but just keep it and just delete everything else. Now we know what we can do next. We're just gonna say hello world. Okay. Oops. We'll just save this. Now the next thing we'll do is we'll just stop this. Basically, it's kind of a server which is running at this location. Just enter Control C for at least for Windows. I know you can enter Control C and this will stop. Okay. Similarly, do the corresponding commands for people running in iOS. Okay. Now again say Cordova run browser. Okay. I just again change my yeah. Okay. So you have your Hello World app here. Now this is basically the browser, right? But we are more interested into making for the cell phones. So you just stop everything. Now just give me a second. We're basically configuring. I've kept those demos for download so that like we'll be coding it live over here, but you can also directly download the APKs. And you have I have also kept the www folders with the web code. So we're just configuring that system right now. Just give me a second, so that it'll be easier for you to download. Okay, that's sorted out. Okay, now the next step is important. Okay, first of all, we just clear up this index. Now let me explain first of all what this index.js is doing. Now you have document.add event listener. People knowing JS, I mean, almost everybody knows this add event listener. It basically listens to specific events that happen in your web page, you can say. So this is the device ready event. It's predefined in Cordova. I don't think this is predefined for the web. I don't think this is specific to Cordova. So when this event is fired, what happens is the on device ready function is called. Now, when this on device ready function is called, you have this code running. Console.log running Cordova, and you have Cordova telling you the platform it's running on, the Cordova version, and you have document.get element by id dot classes dot add dot ready. Now we really don't need this code, so we just delete it. But anyway, now let me explain what this device ready is. Now, when you will be working with Cordova, often you'll be adding many plugins, such as the geolocation plugin, the accelerometer plugin. So these plugins, the device takes time to get these plugins ready. So often it can happen that a user just starts using your app, and the function which is dependent on that plugin is called before actually that plugin being ready and being accessible to the app. So it just waits for the device, or you can say the waits for the app to initialize those plugins, to make those plugins ready for use. And I'm really trying it to simplify so that people who don't have a background in this at all can really find it easy to understand and comprehend and start working on this. So it just waits for this to be completely ready, And then once it's ready, then you can start firing your code. So what I do is I wait for this event, and then till that time I keep like a splash screen at this location. And then once this ready, I maybe wait for some seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, and then I take the user to the home page of my app. That's what I normally do. Okay. So now the next step is really important. What we will be doing is to add the to start using this app for the Android platform. You need to add the Android platform. How we did it, the way we did it over here, it was Cordova Platform Ad browser. Now we need to do the same for Android. We wish to start using the app for Android. So we'll just say Cordova Platform Ad, and here we'll specify Android. Now those who are working for iOS, similarly change this word to iOS, or similarly for Windows, you can do that. So I'm personally doing it for Android, but similarly change this for you can. Okay, first I'll do this. Also, there's another command using which you can just say Cordova Platform Add, and it'll basically add the platforms for all the operating systems. So even who wish to directly start working on all the platforms at once can do that. Hey, okay, I've received emails for that folder which I was supposed to just send it with someone, and then uh, okay,
Sir,
I
I
have
have
received.
sent a new link, sir. That is done, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Mohit. Thank you so much. So basically, everyone just go to that new link, and you'll be able to access the app. Okay. So we can see we're creating Cordova project for Android platform, and it's ready for Android. This whitelist plugin by default installs for every platform. So, and my Android target, this is the target, those who have done coding, basically this is the target SDK. So, and with each release, Android releases the SDK. So SDK, so now I think we're on SDK 30, like the latest one. The latest one is SDK 30. So you have these SDKs from 1 through 30, and then as newer releases come, you have SDKs of increasing numbers. So next we'll be having 31, then 32, and they'll go on. Okay. So we have added the platform. Now we wish to build the app. Now we have a command Cordova Build. Now what this command does is it's a combination of two commands, Cordova Prepare and Cordova Compile. So now let's just have a look at all the files and all the directories which we have right now. So this is my app. Okay, I just go in platforms. So I can see I have two platforms, Android and browser. And we have the plugins over here. So I'll just go into Android. We have the app folder. Then we can go into app, then source, and we have the Android manifest file. Now we won't be diving deep into this really right now because we don't have much time right now immediately, and we have to do another app. So okay, all right. Okay, we have this correct resources. We have the Android manifest.xml. Okay, cool. So what we'll first see what the prepare command is for. So when you say Cordova prepare, what it does is, see the www folder over here is common for all platforms. It's not platform specific. All the files over here are common for all platforms. So when we say Cordova prepare, what it does is it takes this www folder, and similarly any specific changes or configurations, and it sends it to the platforms folder. And for depends, now if you say Cordova Prepare Android, then it'll send it to Android. If you say Cordova Prepare Browser, it'll send it to the browser. Similarly for iOS. So if you say Cordova Prepare Android, it'll send it inside this folder, and it'll, all the changes will be made here. So I'll just try to show if I can over here. Okay, so I'll just everyone follow what I'm saying. Like, this is a specific folder. So first of all, go into platforms. Go into platforms. Uh, this platform folder is located on the main folder of your app. Then go into Android or iOS, depending which your platform you're building for, or Windows, whatever. And then go into app, then go into source, and within source there's again a main folder. Then go into main, you have assets slash www, I mean it's assets, and within assets you have the www folder. Here you have this index.html file. Now when you go to this index.html file, okay, we have, this is the file which will be used while compiling your app. Now suppose you've not added a platform. Now I think in this case we've added the platform after we've actually made changes. But if you've added the platform before you've made changes to the index file and you've added your web code into it, what happens is the changes are not copied. This will be the default. This file will be the default file that has come along with Cordova. So when you say Android Prepare, Cordova Prepare Android, sorry, Cordova Prepare Android, it'll just paste those changes and your web files into the platform specific folder. Now we've done Cordova Prepare Android. We'll just say Cordova Compile. Now with this, when you enter this command, Cordova Compile, it basically compiles the app. This will return an APK. And for those like, if you have not installed if for some reason you couldn't follow all the steps and install the complete environment, you can do that later, definitely. But whenever you do, you'll be using this Cordova Compile to basically compile your app. So I just enter this command. So it's basically building. Okay, now we can see build successful. We've seen. So it's basically, first of all, it checks if you have Java JDK, you have Android SDK root, Android home, and everything. Then you can see it says build successful. So basically an APK has been generated. An APK file has been generated. So yes, we have it. So okay, so I'll just go back to the main folder. So what everyone should do right now is, okay, I think it just built once or twice. Okay, just go to this main folder of my app, or depends on what name you've given it. This, you can call this the root folder, the root directory of your project. This is basically the root directory of your project, which has folders like node modules, platforms, plugins, and this. Go into platforms. Then depending on the OS you have built for, either it's Android, iOS, or Windows. So I have built it for Android. So I'll go into Android. I'll now go to app directory. Go into build. You can see you have the folders generated, intermediates, outputs, and temporary, basically TMP. So go into outputs. Now you have APK. Then you have debug. Then you have app debug APK. So this is the APK that we have generated. Now the thing is, you can just copy this APK and then send it to your cell phone. So once you just copy this APK and send it to your cell phone, using the USB code or something, or maybe via the web, and then just install that app in your cell phone, and then you'll be able to see Hello World on the screen. It'll be a full-fledged app. So I'll just wait for some time. I'll just wait for five minutes, I guess. Uh, and I'll wait till you just copy this app debug.apk into your cell phones and then run the app. Hey Mohit, are there any questions so far? Like, do people have any questions right now?
No, I don't think so. There are any new questions.
Okay, that's good. If anyone has any questions, please do tell.
No.
Just wait for 2-3 minutes more. Now here we had added the Android platform and the browser platform, so it has compiled for both. But we can specifically specify, if we say Cordova compile iOS, then it'll only compile the app for iOS. If we say Cordova compile Android, it'll only compile for Android. Similarly for Prepare, here we have specified Android. Okay, so I hope the app has run successfully in everyone's cell phone. And so now we'll go to our second demo. Now in this demo, we'll be adding a little more advanced basic HTML code. It will not be something very advanced, but way more advanced than this at least. So let's begin. Okay, just close this folder. Great. Okay, I'll just. Okay. So let's start with the second app. Just give me a second. Okay, this is just think now we're good. Great. Okay. So create another folder, and this time you can name it something related to a calculator. We are making a calculator right now. So a simple calculator. Just make a folder calculator and go to the folder. Go inside the folder. Now using the terminal, go to that location. Go to this location on the terminal. Okay. So I think everybody has done that. So again, we'll start from this beginning. So we'll say Cordova create calculator. Just type in this command, Cordova create calculator. Okay. So we can see a new project calculator has been created. Now this is the root directory. So let's go to the root directory. Now we'll add the browser platform, or I think we can just we could just add the Android platform or the iOS platform directly. So Cordova platform add Cordova platform add Android. Now in the we just first of all make a bare minimum calculator app, and then if we have time left we can style it using CSS. At least first let's just make a very simple app with minimum styling. Okay. So the platform has been added. We don't need any extra plugins. I'll also be giving 5 minutes of the workshop time to explain what plugins are exactly, but we don't need them right now. Okay. Um, let's. I think everybody has followed yet. So everybody has followed so far. I hope. So let's just start. So for what we'll do is we'll open this root folder in our text editor. Okay, instead of opening the root folder, it's okay. Okay. Instead of opening the root folder, I opened the folder which was parent to the Android root folder, but that doesn't really matter much. It's okay. Okay. So we'll go to this www folder. Now, most of our work that we're going to be doing is in this folder. So let's see, we have the index.html file. Okay. Now, first of all, okay, now all the code that's written over here, it depends on an application whether you need or you don't need this code. But now we're really making a very basic application. So we just delete the code. I think this is okay. And in fact, okay, so you have this code. And we'll also delete the HTML code. Start from here to here. Just delete this. We'll be inserting our code. Okay. Now we now what we are now we are just doing is making the we're really reducing the bloated code because we don't need this. This is just not useful right now. We're not actually we have not yet started making anything. Okay. So also we'll just check what we have in the CSS file. So just go to your CSS folder, and in that we have your index.css. You just delete this whole file. Like you don't really need this. Let's just delete it from here. Okay. Okay, and we just remove this tag. So now we'll start working on this. I think we're set. Yes. So first of all, uh, we'll define a division, and we'll give it the class container. Okay. And within this container, we first of all have an input element. So those of you who've used VS Code before, they know if you just type input and you press enter, it'll appear. But we can say we don't know if everybody's using that, so we just write the code normally. So here we'll be basically keeping the field as text, the input field where we'll be using entering the numbers and the operators as text. We'll come to that later on why we have kept that. So just let's keep it as text, input type as text, and we'll define an ID. This ID, so that while we can extract the values of this input. Basically, we can extract the string, the text which the user has entered into this. So we just define an ID. So you can say cal. Okay. Now I'll be going a little faster because we have just, I think, half an hour, a little more left than that. So I hope everybody's following that. Just give me a second. Okay. So now we just go a little fast. So we have this input element over here. Below that, we just have a button. Will basically activate a function which actually will activate a function which calculates the result. So we can have a button. I'm just going through this really fast because this is mainly focused towards Cordova. and almost everyone knows web development, or you can later on learn it. So we're just really going fast. Okay. Like, so I've defined this button. I've given it a function of on when the button is clicked. I've defined it as on click. I've given the parameter as get result. So get result is basically the function which we will be calling later on in our JS file. Okay, I think the HTML part is almost done. Cool. Now let's just wrap it up in a center tag. Okay. So let's first of all go to the CSS files. Let's add our CSS file. We have deleted the index.js CSS file, so let's add our own. So now right now what I'm explaining is basically not specific to Cordova. It's basic web development. So we're just going through fast through it. We just define a class container, and we give. Now this is not at all a responsive app. This is just for demo, and we're short on time, so we're not making anything responsive. We're just quickly coding as fast as possible. So I'll just specify padding as 32 px. Say font size as I'll give it 20. I'll say what else we need. Okay, font family, Arial, reviewing and these are fallback fonts. So ultimately, it'll display something of sans serif. Okay, I think this is done. Yes, container is done. Let's go to what do we have next? What do we have? Okay, so container is done. Wait, we just yeah. Now we have the input element. We'll just style this. We specify the font size of 20 to the input element. Here and let's okay, we'll define the width as this just some random width is not specific. Okay. And okay, now I think we're done styling the input. Now I won't call it styling really, it's really bare bones, but bare minimum, but still. So we've done styling the input element. Now next we won't style the button. Let's go to okay, we'll just style the button one. So I just keep it else yes font. Okay, so we have the button. We have the button ready. Okay. Now this is basically the header, just the header, which specify that this is the result. So we'll give it a font size of let's say I think 32. Okay. Now we've already specified the font family as Arial in container. so we don't need to do it here. I think that would have worked for this as well, but now let me just be. We are less in time, so we don't waste time on deleting stuff. Just 1 or 2 lines of extra code. Okay, so we're done with this. Now we have to style this. Now there's an ID, so we have to style it accordingly. The selector that we will use is the hash selector. Uh, Size, just keep it a bit bigger. Similarly, the rest. Okay, okay, I think we're good. Now, what I'll be doing is we can just now this is basically HTML code, so you can just run it directly through the browser. So I'll just reveal this in File Explorer, and I'll just run this directly through the browser. I hope this is ready. Now we're not left with much, like we're almost done. Oops, the button has disappeared. Oh, we didn't enter any text for the button. That's why. Okay. Where's the button? Yes, here. So you can say calculate in caps. Okay. We'll do the trick. Okay, I think. Oh, we need to specify this result on family. Maybe we have. Interesting. Just specify this property to this as well, just in case. I don't know why. Ideally, it should. Ideally, it should. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now it's now everything's like this. This is the non-style version. Okay. Now we just connect this CSS file. We've basically linked the CSS file to this, and now the styles which we have given, they'll come to life. Okay. So let's refresh this, and okay. So the UI is ready. So the UI is ready. This I won't call this UI again, but still whatever this is ready. Okay. Cool. Now let's go to the JavaScript function. Now we'll focus first of all on this get result. So let's create a JS file, which is calculator.js. Let's add a function get result. Now let's define a variable. Now how we are going to do this is basically, let me just give you all a gist of this. So this is a text field. Now in JavaScript there's a function called eval. Now using the eval function, what it does is it executes your text field as a JavaScript command. So for example, if I put this in text field console dot log something, okay, let's say here, and if I send this, if I pass this as a parameter to the eval field, then in console.log you'll be able to view it over here. Okay, so that's basically what the eval function does. Cool. So okay, so let's say var. Now you say cal string. It's basically the string. Cal string equals to document. You can also use a query selector, but we'll just do the basic way. Okay, and you can see, I think what the ID was cal input. Okay, cal input. So we'll enter cal input here. Now let's see if the this has been connected correctly. Like if the JS file has been connected to the link correctly. So first of all, we have to yet put a link, but we'll just say alert str alert cal string. We'll just see if that just is working right. script. Okay. Okay. So yes. So basically, what it's doing is when I press calculate at just right now for this time, it's currently is just you can see where char string has been defined and what the value it is given is document.getElement by id, this core input element and value. So when we press calculate, it passes whatever we write into this into the function. It's just doing that much right now. Okay. So this works. Okay. Yes. Okay. Good. Cool. Now let's just say, now using the eval function, we'll pass it to the eval function. First of all, we'll specify where result as. Now we'll pass this char string text to the eval function. So we'll say where result equals to eval char string. Now what this is going to do is will store the numeric value of the string into this variable. And now if you just type any text, there won't be any numerical value. But if you type things like 3 plus 3 plus 6, then it'll calculate the numeric value. So this second. Okay, so this result. Now we'll just alert, we'll say alert result. We'll just display the result of the calculation as an alert box. Let me say 5 to 6. Great. Oh, it's passing it a text. It has text. Okay. It's taking the string, but it's, I think you say one second. We'll just we're a little tight on time, so we'll just see if we can solve this micro issue, or we'll just go ahead. Okay. I'd already sent y'all the web files. I'll just see what have I done right in that. It's something really minute, but it's just causing some issue. Let's see. Let's okay. What's this? We don't know. Eval. There was eval as well. This is eval as well. One sec. Oh, I guess I made an error with alert while I am calling alert. I should be calling result as an alert. One second. Yeah. Okay. So basically, what I was doing is I was instead of writing result, I was writing char string in there, and because of that, it was just displaying the text in the alert box. So basically, we have to specify result over. So okay. So alert result, and that just works. It's a little more complex calculations. Not really very complex, but still great. Say 5,000. Great. Okay. It works. So we just have to send this result to the HTML division, which we have named as we have specified. This is the HTML element with the ID result display. So now what we just have to do is we have to send that result to this division, and we'll be using the inner.html property. So let's display. Okay. So display not inner. Now basically what this inner HTML is, it just when you say document, basically it sets the HTML property. So by that, what I mean is, if I say dot inner HTML equals to hi, okay, if I say this inner HTML equals to hi, what it'll do is, in the DOM, or basically in the browser, you'll see hi in place of this, as if you have actually coded this as hi. So that's what it does. So basically it sets the inner HTML of that element. So instead of this hi, we have to write result. Okay, I think we're done. We just run this once and then we'll start compiling. Yes, we can. Okay, just a second. Just, I'll just give a little more breaks. I think this is okay. Cool. So here you can see anything. So now the thing is, with this calculator, you have to basically follow the JavaScript operators. So for division, you will be using this slash operator. So because then that's what it recognizes, and then it takes the string and then sends it to the eval function, and then it calculates the result. So if I do this number, whatever it is, by divide by 88, it will calculate the result. Okay. So now let's start compiling the app. Mohit, hey, you there?
Yes, yes, sir.
Hi Mohit. So everyone is following, right? Like everybody's
Yeah,
following,
yeah.
right?
I don't think, yeah. There's no problem. No
Okay.
worries.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So let's compile the app. Let's just close everything. Let's just close this. Okay. Let's go to our terminal. So you already opened this. So now we'll be directly using the build command, which is basically Cordova Prepare plus compile. Now, sometimes while developing apps, when you say Cordova Build, it directly uh, obviously executes Cordova Prepare plus compile. But sometimes after executing Prepare, you need to make some changes, and then you need to uh, enter the command of compile. So that time you need to do it different. You know, you cannot do it directly, because then it will throw error. But that's specific cases. Like for some apps I have made, I had to first say Cordova prepare, then I had to make some changes in the properties file, in the gradle.properties file, and then after that I had to execute Cordova compile. So it depends from case to case. In this case we don't need to do that. Also, just some stuff, basic stuff, like you have your Android in platforms folder, in the app folder you have your Android manifest .xml file. This is basically your manifest, Android manifest file. So here you have your thing. Now for example, this is permission is not necessary for us, so we are not focusing on permission right now. We're just doing it as fast as possible. So but for example, when you don't need certain permission, you have to remove them. When you need certain permission, you can add them to this file. Also you have things like version code. Now this is 1000. Usually I prefer one, so you can just uh, keep it, depends which version it is. You can similarly specify the version name over here. Okay, cool. Okay, one thing which we have to do is, what we'll do is, we'll focus a little on the config.xml file. We'll make some changes over there, and basically we'll just I'll quickly make some changes to this. So here we have, we'll just wrap it up as fast as possible. In 5 minutes we'll just, not even 5 minutes, in 2-3 minutes we'll just wrap up this config part. So you can see the version is 1.0, so that's okay. Encoding UTF-8, whatever it is. Widget ID, like you don't, right now in this we don't need to focus in detail very much. So you have the ID. Now ID is usually given in a reverse domain form. So I can say com dot Faizali Mulla dot calculator. Basically, usually it is given in this format, and it's kind of a you can say convention. You can say that anybody else won't be able to claim this ID is easily because I will have the ownership of this domain. So when you release your app and it goes worldwide, that time you have to consider these things. So your ID has to be unique throughout the world. So it's usually given in, you can just for now you can say com dot whatever your name is dot anything. So we have the version. We don't need to make any changes over here. Now the name of the application, we'll say calculator. Now this name is basically the thing that is displayed on your cell phone OS. Basically, you have the list of your apps, all the different apps. So that name is displayed. This name is displayed over there. Then description, we just say simple calculator app. Okay. Author. Now, this email ID is not really active right now, but I have this domain with me. So later on, I'll be activating this so I can use this just for demo purpose. But yeah, this domain do own this domain, so no problem. I don't have any issues with it. Okay. Href will just not enter. So yeah, this you can enter whatever email ID is. I own this domain, so there won't be any problem for me. So I'm just keeping it for now. I just change this name. Okay. Similarly, you write your name over here, author name, whenever you're making any app. Now content source index.html. So this is basically the first page that will be accessed as soon as the user opens your app. So then you have access origin. Now basically these access, I'm really going really fast because we have less time right now. But these access origin and this allow intent, basically these are the whitelisting links. So what they do is they specify what are the links that the user is allowed, not the user, the app is allowed to open. So for example, I to increase the security of my app, I'll only allow specific links for the app to open so that there's no other issue. Now in this case, this given access origin star. Now we don't usually when you release an app, you don't need this. You have to it's better if you remove this, or for security, security issues can arise. So and just specify those links, those even in allow intent, only those links which actually are safe or which you own, so they are safe, there won't be any issues. So we'll just remove all of this, we don't need that right now. Okay, so we're done with the config.xml. Now, in Cordova, especially in I think in later versions, they've also given this package.json file. So with the in this file, it's basically when there's a conflict between this file and config.xml file, the package.json file is considered. But what I usually do is I just copy the same things over here. So I just quickly copy. So the name, basically by name you mean the package name or the ID, you can say. Okay, you have in main you have index.js. Similarly, as you have content source index.html, this is index.js. So that's the index.js file. And you have author. license, we're not really focusing on license really. So in dev dependencies, you can see, especially people familiar with Node, you have dev dependencies, you have dependencies. In dev dependencies, you can see you have Cordova Android, you have Cordova plugin whitelist, and in Cordova you have plugins. Now we've not really installed much plugins, so there are no more plugins than this, but right now this is the one that comes default, install default. And in platforms we have Android. So yes, we're done with the package.json. Now we'll okay. Now as far as the app icon is concerned, in your config.xml file, just add a tag icon source. Okay. I'll just specify the icon source as icon.jpg, and now we just quickly make one. Like we just use. So just focus here that in for an app icon in config.xml file, just enter this line over here, icon source equals to, and then you give the location of that icon. Now usually we use icons that vary with the screen sizes, so then you have more parameters that go here, and then you specify different icon with different resolutions for those screen sizes. But now for this we have less time, so we just specify one icon, single icon for all screen sizes. Okay, just give me a second. I just make one basic icon. We'll just resize this. Okay. This is a really basic icon. It's just like rough, completely rough. Like obviously in production you won't be using this icon, but for demo or personal use, okay, it's fine. Okay. Now see, this is basically the root folder. We'll store this icon in the root folder. Wait, this is the other. Oh, okay, we've opened another folder. Workshop demo. Yes. Okay, so this is the root folder. You just paste the icon. I'll just in a second I'll go to that folder so that it's easier for you to understand. Okay, so this is the root folder, and we can see we have just saved the icon over here. So that's why in the path, the relative path, we just gave it /icon. So if you have a folder inside it, then this relative path will vary accordingly. Okay, so I think we are ready to compile. Now, let's say Cordova Build. In my case, it's Android. Similarly, for iOS and other stuff, other platforms, you can specify accordingly. I hope this puts. This is the moment of truth. Like how many ever apps you make, always you're you're a little anxious, you are a little nervous that there shouldn't be any error. I hope it compiles. I really hope it compiles. So okay. So yes, we have this build successful. So basically it has built an APK, and this is the location of the APK. So you all can just copy this location from the terminal and directly go to the location, or we just go from here. So this is the root. We go into platforms, we go into Android, and then in app, like the same way, the same the relative folders that we used for which we accessed for the Hello World app, into build, into outputs, APK, debug, APK debug. Now again, you just copy this APK into your cell phones. Now there are commands to run it directly to your cell phones when your cell phone is connected to the PC or your laptop using a USB. but or you can run it in the Android Studio or any other emulator. But right now we just, you can, it depends, it's personal choice. So but for those who don't have that setup ready, just copy this APK into your cell phone and run it, and that should work. So that's about it. Now the two demos, we've completed the two demos. I just need to specify two more things. I'll just talk about what is this debug about, and what are plugins. So this app debug. Now this is a debug app. Okay, so there are, you can classify APK like a debug APK and a release APK. The release APK is the one which you actually release it to the world. This debug APK, you can just, you know, use it for your personal use, or maybe for testing or something. But yeah, you do testing of the release APK as well. So uh, basically, when you release your world to the app, your app to the world, what happens is, there are chances. Suppose you release version 1.0.0, there are chances that someone who wants to degrade the reputation of your app will release a false APK with the same ID. And the cell phone, if that permission is enabled, you have the default permission, this app may be harmful to your device. If that permission is enabled and you permit that app to install, what can happen is that APK, if that has a version code more than the previous one, it'll get installed, and it may contain malwares, and it's basically not from the authorized author, not from the authorized source. So it's basically an unauthorized update that you may receive. So what happens, you can basically sign your app, and that's called app signing. So we really couldn't do all of that, like that if we that's a, you know, total workshop of 1 or 2 days. So that will include everything, icons, app signing using Android Studio, or similarly for iOS other tools. But right now the gist of it is, you can basically sign your app, and you can say that, okay, I'm the developer, I'm the authorized person, and I've signed this app. So the version 1.0 will be signed by you, so that if any unauthorized version 1.2 comes, the cell phone, or the basically you can say the cell phone operating system won't allow that app to be installed. Now this is specifically, I'm talking about Android, but there will be similar things for iOS as well, or for any platform, say. So the, in fact, I think in iOS, I'm not completely sure, but I think anyways you're not able to, just correct me if I'm wrong. I've not done much of iOS development, but I think mostly you're not really, you cannot really install apps from, you know, any source that we are, like the way we are able to do that in Android.
Yes, sir.
So
In iOS, we have to download it through the App Store, right? We cannot have third
yes,
party
yes,
apps. Yeah.
yes. Thank you so much, Mohit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you can say the OS will reject the app and won't let the app update. So the unauthorized update won't be installed. And that app signing, for that app signing properly, you need a release build. So you need the release flags for that. So that's how you do a release. So that's the difference between a debug and the release. Especially in release, moreover, many libraries or unused parts of code are automatically truncated, or, you know, you can say removed, which are not useful. So sometimes, or many times, in fact often, the release builds are way more lighter than the debug builds. So that's basically two main differences. Release will be lighter with minimum unused code, or almost no unused code. Debug will may contain unused code, and usually for app signing, to sign your app, you need a release build. That's the main difference. And another thing was plugins. I'll just go through that once quickly. Okay, so let's go here. Add a plugin. So what are plugins? Now, by default, to make it more efficient and lightweight, what Cordova does is, it doesn't pack with it all the plugins that you need for the APK to work. Now, for example, in this calculator app, we didn't need any plugin actually. In fact, we didn't need any plugin like a geolocation or camera or a share API. We didn't need any of that. But sometimes you may need those plugins. So based on your needs, you can customize. Basically, it's one kind of a customization. So you can add those plugins and then you can run. So if you don't need those plugins, those won't be added by default and your app will be light. If you need more plugins, you can just add those plugins accordingly. And also there are third-party plugins. So you can, I think you all are familiar with obviously you all are familiar with open source and especially NPM. I think most people who have done Node will be knowing NPM, and many plugins from NPM are obviously third-party plugins. They're done voluntarily or whatever for any reason, whatever the reason it is. So you can have those third-party plugins installed and then add those specific functionalities. So those are plugins. To add a plugin, you just have to say Cordova plugin add and then name the plugin, and that plugin will be added. So then specifically, you can specify those plugins you need. Cordova will download and install those plugins, and then those will be used in your app. So yes, that's about it. So
Yes, if
any questions
anyone
or any
doubts, yeah, please ask sir. Else we have some. Do we have any
yes.
doubts? Any questions?
Yes, if anybody has any questions, please do tell us.
Yeah. And also, I'd like to remind everyone that please fill the feedback form, as through that we will be sending the e-certificates. Write your name correctly in the. There is no mistake in your e-certificate. That's all from my side.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So we are waiting for the questions, right?
Yeah, yeah. Let's wait for 2 minutes and then we can wrap it up. And they'll probably
Okay.
fill the form till then as well.
Okay. By the way, everyone, I got many requests for the email for the access to the folder. Actually, that folder I was supposed to send it only to Mohit, so I had not kept it as public. But Mohit has downloaded those files and folders, and he has sent you all the links. So
Yeah, yeah. I
please
have sent
access
the
the
links
links.
in the group chat. Like itself, and I will also send it in the WhatsApp group so
Great.
that
Great. Thank you
people
so
try.
much. So everyone just download those files if you want from there.
If there are no questions, we can end the. Okay, there are. So there is a question, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, how are permissions handled for mics and cameras through apps?
For what and camera, sir?
Permissions handled for mics, like the audio
Okay.
mics and cameras, which we
Microphone.
can.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. So that's handled through the Android manifest. So I'll just show you that file. Okay. So here in your main root directory, you have this folder as platform, and for Android. Now this is for Android. The person's doubt is for Android or for some other OS.
Android.
Okay, great. So for Android, you have this platform folder. Then in that you have a folder of Android. Now within this folder, you go into app. Now in general Android development, there's a manifest.xml file which handles the permissions, and the same file which we'll be seeing over here. So we have this Android manifest file. Now see, in this you have uses permission, Android name, Android permission dot internet. So by default, the internet permission is given, even though we are actually not using this facility, but maybe it's just directly automatically given. So for example, if I wish to remove this permission, I'll remove it because we don't need this. Now, similarly, if I wish to add any Android permission, so I'll just use that same tag. I'll just one second. I'll just control undo and I'll just change this. So just go to Android. Okay, wait. We'll just visit it over here itself. We'll just go to that side. So Android just helps developers with this Android permissions. and there you have a list of permissions which you need to. Okay, 1 second. It's just loading. Yeah, so this is developer.android.com. You might already be familiar with this, I guess. So in this we have the list of permissions. Now let me just check where are all the permissions. There is a complete list of all the permissions that we have. You just type permissions. So this is the same one. Okay, we'll directly go to the permission. I don't know, I just cannot find it. From Android permission camera. So Google will search it first. Yes, we have. This is the official site. So the authorized site, developer.android.com. We have the camera API, and here we can see. So for camera, yes. So your application must request permission to use a device camera, and for that use this. You can see Android permission dot camera. So just specify this line. Uses permission Android name camera, and I'll tell you where to put it. You have to insert that line here. So you just remove this, and you have to put that line here. So you can say uses permission, and then this Android. Okay, I'll just write it. So it's easier. Android name. So yes, so now with this, the app will ask the user for camera permission. So this is the specific code that you need, right? So just it's well documented on Google. So just search this, and then you will come across something like this. So then enter the string, and similarly for any other permission also, any other, obviously while developing apps you'll be needing other permissions as well. So for any other permissions, similarly access right now, at least this developer.android.com, it gives a nice document guide, you can say. So for permissions, which permissions are there, and how to access those permissions, how should the app ask for the user for permissions, what to add on your manifest file is mentioned. So just search this, and you will find this for microphone as well. I think that
Yeah, there is another question that can we
okay.
develop apps
Yes,
by
yes.
using Java, or is JavaScript necessary?
Okay. Java is by default. You can develop Android apps with Java, right? In fact, I think even
Yeah.
before Kotlin support, Java was the language using which you could develop Android apps. Sorry, yeah, you could develop Android apps. So, but then yeah, for Android you can use Java, but then for iOS you'll have to use other languages. I think it's Swift and C++. I think, yeah. Yeah, but I think the question I think that person has asked, if he has asked this, maybe he means to say that can we combine a Cordova app and a Java app? I guess that's what the person wants to ask. Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
good.
One simple way of doing that is basically install Android Studio, and then import. Even in the guides of this on this website, you are given those guidelines. So install Android Studio, import the project. You say import Gradle project, then you import that Cordova project, and then that directory, the file structure. If you're already wish to develop apps in Java, you've already developed apps in Java, that directory will be already familiar to you, and will be able, easily be able to develop Java. Like you'll put the Java code in that particular file which you want to, and you will be already familiar, so you'll be able to do that. Yes, you can really combine that.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
think that's all.
Okay.
There is one more, sir. Sir, I think there's one more. How can we make
Yeah,
our
yeah.
app to send notifications?
Okay. Apps and notifications.
Yes, sir. How do you apps like how do you make your app send notifications? Like, just
Set.
give
I mean, you
it's
receive notification, right?
yeah, yeah. So that if I am building a app, that app should give notification on some alerts or something.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll first search if there are packages for that. I think there will be. Like my apps are usually offline apps, so I've never used the notification thing. But you can, I think, Cordova. Let's just see if there's a. Yeah, I think there will be a plugin. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so we can directly use plugins for
Yeah, yes, you can use the plugins and just check if there are any I think for notifications, if the notification, see there can be two types of notification. There can be a notification that'll be basically activated when you come in a particular location. So that may be done by a GPS or something. So that may not need internet necessarily. That can be done offline via GPS. But if there are notification like the usual notifications which we see, which are usually online, that they come through the internet, then you need the permission for the app to access the internet as well. Yeah, just use those. You there will be packages. You also, yeah, your alert, and this is a different one, I guess. This is notification or alert, but there will be Cordova I think this might be also be helpful, but there will be packages that will make your work easier, and you just they're often available on npm .js, npm.js. I think it's npm.js. Yeah, npmjs.com. This site may be familiar to most of you. So they're usually available on this site, npm.js. So then just install the package as Cordova add plugin, Cordova plugin add, and then that plugin. And then according to the documentation which they've given, just yeah, use the plugin. I think that answers the doubt, right?
Surely, yes, sir. So thank you for the great lecture. We got great insights about how to change our web applications to mobile applications. If there are any other doubts, maybe you could answer them through the group which we have created. You can ask doubts
Yes.
there as for anyone
Yes,
who's.
sure. By the way,
Yeah.
should I give
So
my email ID or something so that if anybody has doubts, they can just ask?
yeah, I think you can just send the email ID on the group itself. Like I don't think there are
Okay,
people. Yeah, that will be
cool.
great. Thank you, everyone. Just fill the feedback form, and I'll be
By the way,
ending.
thank you, everyone, for having this lecture. It was great. Thank you, Mohit. Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir. No
Bhavna.
problem.
Thank you, everyone from ACM. Thank you, ACM. Thank you, VIT. Thank you, everyone who've attended this lecture, who have spent their time and who had the wish to learn something. Thank you, everyone who's attended, and it was amazing. Like the participation, and it was really good. Like amazing. It was good. Good. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.